6 months ago, before any of this happened, what were the challenges faced in Greater Manchester Police?
Greater Manchester Police in the last year, I think, has been struck by a couple of real serious critical incidents. And the more we've looked into that, the more we've realised that our understanding of what the community expects from policing just hasn't been there. Greater Manchester Police have been very good at communication, but perhaps not as good at understanding what communities' desires, expectations and priorities are. And therefore, I think we had to face fact that our engagement wasn't as good as it should have been.
Now, I've heard you being very, very passionate about community engagement. This morning, it was quite obvious that this is one of your key strategies. What, to me as an outsider, I'm not a police officer, what's so important about engaging with the community?
You know, it's all too easy for policing to just think that we're the experts, we're the professionals. Tell us what, if we understand what the problem is, we're going to design the solution to deal with that problem. What community engagement does is it allows us to be able to listen to more voices. It allows us to be able to tap into the understanding of the problem from the community's point of view. It allows us to engage with those individuals and also involve them in the solutions. Engagement isn't just about understanding, it's also about really doing things differently, which actually make a difference to people's lives.
Perfect answer. So, tell me about this company that you brought in. You didn't do this in-house. You brought some people in. Who were they? What was that all about? Incidentally, I don't work for Mutual Gain, so what you want.
Mutual Gain we met through working with the Home Office. What Mutual Gain do is they bring a different way of looking at the problem. They bring a different level of understanding. They made us look at things perhaps from the other side of the glass. They challenged us. They were controversial in some of the things they were asking us to do. But most importantly, they allowed us the time and the learning to be able to say, let's test a few things out, let's see what works for Greater Manchester Police. And importantly, that's what's going to make the big difference.
Now, you've talked about difference there. What are the differences? You talked about changes that sometimes you're struggling to implement. What are the kind of changes that you imagine? What are the kind of initiatives you want to introduce as a result of this programme?
I think the biggest set of differences, we're going to listen to more voices. We're going to be able to look at problems from a very different perspective. Also, it's so easy to just look at burglaries or violence and think we understand the reasons why they occur. But the community will tell us different reasons. So we'll be able to attack, I suppose, the reasons why crime occurs from a bit different set of circumstances. But also, and one of the biggest things we're trying to get out of this is greater involvement of the community in the solutions themselves. Tap into all that spirit, tap into that enthusiasm, tap into that spirit of volunteering, tap into the communities wanting to make their own communities better and allow them not just a voice, but also a hand in actually the solutions themselves. So greater involvement in the community, better understanding of the problems, less crime, safer communities, stronger communities.
This process looked quite expensive, and certainly when I went there last night, I may imagine it doesn't come cheap. How can you justify spending this amount of money on community engagement when there's so many stretches on the public purse nowadays?
The cost of crime is horrendous in this country. If we just react to crime, or we just, respond to whenever a crime occurs, then the cost to victims, society, loss of work is tremendous. What we're trying to do is invest to be able to prevent crime happening in the first place, getting a better understanding, getting more people involved in stopping crime from happening. So this is about invest to save. This is about putting money in to be able to prevent crime happening. The savings will absolutely be tremendous.
What do you feel about incentivisation? Last night we paid everybody £10 to come. What are your feelings on that?
Across Greater Manchester, we have huge sections of our community who never engage with the police, never engage with any public services, who perhaps go about their merry way. They've got great ideas. They've got great thoughts about policing or great thoughts about how we prevent crime. We've got to find ways of bringing them to the table, to listen to them and give them a voice. Sometimes, working with local supermarkets, giving them a voucher to thank them for their time, we are getting so much more out of that than we would if they weren't at the table. We bring them to the table. Sometimes incentives allow us to do that.